Hello again, everyone. Welcome to another special edition of the ROKER Report podcast. It's Gav here again. And today I'm looking eagerly forward to my chat with a player who I can describe really only as iconic. I mean, he made 55 appearances for Sunderland, scoring 8 goals, and is someone who fans still have a massive affection for because he brought, the type of character and spirit that our team had been missing for many years prior to his arrival, really. So it's a pleasure today to be able to say I'm speaking with Ross Wallace. Ross, how are you doing?
Yeah, very good. Thanks for that introduction.
Like I say, iconic. I mean, when I think back to that time, you weren't really here all that long, really, but, so many good memories. I mean, what's it like up at St Mirren then? Is it back in Scotland for the first time since you left Celtic? That's right, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. I think it was something like 12 years or something like that. Since I moved from Celtic to Sunderland, that was my first time I went back to Scotland to play. And I quite enjoyed actually going back to the old stadiums that I used to go to as a kid and stuff. But I loved every minute. Unfortunately, this coronavirus has been into that. But
are you missing it?
To be fair, I was out of football for a few months and I only just got back in and I played 3 games and then obviously this coronavirus as well came. So,
I mean, what sort of impact's that going to have on you? Obviously now you're 34-year-old. Are you still got plans to play on for a bit longer?
Yeah, I'm going to play on. Fortunately, I've not had any bad injuries over the years. I feel fit, I feel strong. But obviously, this is as soon as you mention you're 34, it's hard to get in at teams. But I feel as fit and as sharp as as I've ever done. So it's frustrating when obviously you're trying to make phone calls and people are looking at younger, want to go younger and stuff like that. But I'm more than confident I could play a part. And for a good couple of years yet.
Oh, that's good to hear then, because obviously, with what's going on, nobody really knows what's going to happen going forward. But at least, you're confident in yourself that you're going to be able to play on. I mean, there were actually rumours in the summer that you might even have ended up back at Sunderland. I remember seeing a few bits and pieces about when you were looking for a club after Fleetwood that you could have came back here. Was there anything in that?
Yeah, that's the question. But obviously I never really got a response. I would have gave my right arm to come back to Sunderland at that time. That would have been a perfect move for me. Because I played at League One with Fleetwood and we had quite a good season. I still felt I had a lot to give. I would have loved to have come back. There's still some really good players at Sunderland at the time. And I thought I would have fitted in well with that, with the way they played and stuff. But obviously decisions are made. It's in football and that's life. You just need to take it on the chin. But if that opportunity had came and they'd given the green light for it, I would have ran to Sunderland from where I lived.
What was that like playing for Fleetwood then? I mean, Joey Barton is somebody who's got a bit of a hate-hate relationship with our fans, and I'm sort of intrigued to ask, what's he like to play for?
I'll say I need to be careful what I say. No, the thing is with Joey, he wears his heart on his sleeve, doesn't he? He's obviously, there's a clash here between Sunderland and Joey, and obviously he's had some things to say about Sunderland, which obviously on my side, I've got that wee bit of bias towards Sunderland because I've got that sort of, I still support the club kind of like away from it and stuff. So when I hear him saying stuff about Sunderland, I'm just a wee bit like, this is a bit weird. But but in terms of being a coach, if you just take him as a coach and being a manager and stuff, he's actually really good, on the training pitch, very, very good, tactically and stuff. Obviously, he's got that little hot streak, similar to what Roy had, when he first came to Sunderland, it was his first job, he's had that fire and obviously if they can control that. But these people have got that edge. And that's what I like about managers, I like to play for managers who keep their players on their toes. You want the players to be on edge a little bit, to push them. Because if you don't have that, then players end up playing at 80%, 90%.
Back to the point of all this, I guess, your time at Sunderland, and it seems like only yesterday to me, but it was actually 14 years ago. I mean, where's that time gone, You signed for the club in the summer of 2006, which at the time we were in a bit of a limbo. I mean, we started the season terribly and Niall stepped back as manager and Roy came in, and then there was that one day where we signed something like 6 players and you were one of those players who came into the club. How were things going at Celtic before you came to Sunderland? Were you happy there?
Obviously at Celtic, I think it was Gordon Strachan at the time. I was playing left back because obviously, at Celtic we had some really good players, with some top wingers at the time who were flying. Obviously we had McGeady, who obviously was at Sunderland.
Yeah.
We had like Nakamura, Sean Maloney. Look, we had loads of people. It was hard to fit in, so I ended up Strachan put me to left back for a little bit, and I played there. But I was good going forward and stuff. I quite enjoyed that. But I'm not a left back. I wanted to play up top as a winger, trying to create goals and take people on and stuff. And it just didn't suit me. And obviously, my agent he's a Sunderland lad as well. So he gave me the phone call and he just says basically, Roy fancies taking you down, because obviously Roy had been at Celtic for a few months.
Yeah, had you played with him at Celtic?
Yeah, well, obviously he had played a few months there. I think he got injured, and then obviously he retired at the end of that season and went into the Sunderland job. So I'd already trained with him and played with him and stuff. So he obviously knew me from that way, and I think it was me and Stan Varga, wasn't it, that came down.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, Roy just said, do you fancy coming to Sunderland now? I was absolutely buzzing, because I was thinking I was going to stay in Scotland, maybe go to somewhere in Scotland, and then obviously when you hear Sunderland, massive club, obviously with Roy coming in, it's going to be a massive media thing, and you know what I mean, everybody's going to jump on it. And it'll be a nice wee buzz for a few years, maybe while Roy's there especially. So I thought, why not go for it?
Yeah, why not? I mean, Celtic's a massive club, I guess, but this was your first chance of being an established player at another club and under a manager with a bit of momentum, I can totally understand why you would want to play for him. I mean, how did you find him generally? I've spoken to a few players. You hear both sides of the coin. How did you find him?
I love playing with Roy. Obviously, there was times, I think Roy even himself would say now, no, maybe you've changed things a little bit, but you say change things, we absolutely scooshed the league in the end. So it's like, what you done must have been right. But I think just the day-to-day stuff, he was just he was a bit fiery, a bit too fiery. If he had just chilled a wee bit. Obviously, you want to keep that. Roy obviously wants to keep everybody on their toes and have that sort of fear factor. But I think that the whole fear thing, I think just maybe just went a little bit too far at times. But I think overall, I love working under Roy, and I love working under managers like that who are a bit edgy and basically I've got high standards and push people to get the best out of them. But I thought Roy was really good. And I'd like to see him back in at management, to be fair. Because I think he probably knows he'd change a few bits and bobs. I think he'd be really good if he gets another chance at it.
Why do you think he hasn't actually done much after Sunderland, I guess, as a manager? Because he's been an assistant, hasn't he, in a few different roles alongside Martin O'Neill, but he's never really... He had a stint with Ipswich, which didn't go particularly well. I mean, what do you think has happened there? Then why do you think clubs aren't taking a chance on someone like Roy Keane?
I'm not sure. I think maybe it's just, obviously you hear stories of like having clashing with players and stuff like at Ipswich, and you've heard stories, blah blah blah. But I just think now, since he's worked with Martin O'Neill, I think he's realised, I think he'd maybe take a back step and his hands-on management with the players and stuff. I don't know. It's a question for Roy, but
yeah.
I'd love to see him get back in, because I think that he's learned a lot. Because I worked with Martin when I first came through. He gave me my debut at Celtic, and Martin O'Neill was brilliant. I absolutely loved him.
When Roy was obviously Sunderland manager, though, he arrived with just the reputation of being a world-class player, didn't he? Whereas now people have, I guess, chairmen and stuff, that take a look at what he's done across his whole career and they maybe worry a little bit about what he's capable of and, whether he might be difficult to work with and stuff. But I agree with you. I mean, when Sunderland sacked Jack Ross, a lot of fans want to see Roy come back to Sunderland, and not just because he done so well the first time around, just because he brings values which a lot of clubs are lacking. Clubs who are in disarray and stuff, the fans want to see a manager come in and maybe rule with an iron fist and bring the standards up a little. And I guess that's what he did at Sunderland, didn't he?
Yeah, that's spot on. The standards were like so high. He expected, obviously the year we got promoted, I don't want to develop too far, but obviously if you're getting in his mindset, he's basically of the thinking we should be winning this championship. You know what I mean? Because obviously I hear things like the players at the minute, Sunderland lads thinking, if we can make the playoffs and stuff. I'm like, Sunderland, look at that group of players, some really good players in that Sunderland squad. On paper,
yeah,
they really should be winning that league.
Absolutely. And we won't touch too much on it, but yeah, I think the game is better off with Roy Keane in it. He can be abrasive and he can be difficult to work with, I suppose. But I'd love, like you said, I'd love to see him back in management.
I think he's got too much to give, and obviously it was his first year in management. He's going to be learning as well as a manager.
Yeah.
And I think he's dipped his toes in, he's had a couple of years managing, he's took a back seat, working with Martin O'Neill behind the scenes, and I think it's just got his juices going again. And I'd loved him to get another opportunity.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I totally agree. I mean, go back to the week you signed for Sunderland. So you came in on deadline day, like I say, and then the next game was away at Derby County. And I spoke to Toby Hyson, and he spoke about how he made his debut in the game before that. And then you came in and took his place in the team down at Derby. And obviously that's an iconic day. I mean, the fans celebrating your winner at the end. What a dream debut, really, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah, it was brilliant. We were in the changes room before, and obviously Roy's going round, everybody shaking hands, and he was like, "Got a feeling you're going to score today." And I was like, "I bloody hope so." That was it. He just left it at that, and then obviously, bang, I managed to get the winner. That day was absolutely unbelievable. It gave me goosebumps, because it was my first time away from home. It sort of like set me up a little bit. I brought the family down to Sunderland to live. Obviously, to get off that flyer like that, and obviously to see the amount of fans, that's when I realised how big Sunderland was. I didn't think they were going to be like every away game you went, it was packed out. It sort of reminded me of Celtic in a way. I don't think as big a club as Celtic, but worldwide. But I think it reminded me of the fans, the passion. There's travelling numbers and they're so passionate. I just thought this is going to be brilliant. But getting that winner. And then obviously taking my top off.
Well, I was going to ask about that because that's kind of why fans connect so much with you, don't they? And I think people remember you so fondly because they love to see players celebrate goals like that. I mean, what's going through your head when you're running away with your top over your head?
Honestly, I don't have a clue what's going on. I don't think I used to watch, remember the old Italian football?
Yeah.
And I remember they used to do it, and I used to watch that. Oh, I'd love to do that. You score a winner and get the top off is unbelievable. And then to just looking back, I'm thinking, well, you absolute idiot.
Well, you done it against Hull. I think wasn't long after that Derby game. Jumped in the crowd, got sent off.
Yeah. I remember Roy gave me a bit of stick for that. He's like, I don't know why you keep taking your top off because you've not got the best body in the world.
Did he go down your throat over all that, or was he not too bothered?
No. To be fair, there were 2 winning goals. They were big points.
Yeah.
Especially the Hull one, because I think we were starting to get, obviously we were on a bit of momentum, and to get that 3 points away, it just lifts you a wee bit more. I think it just, he says he was going to fine me a week's wages or something, or 2 weeks' wages, but he never in the end. He just gave me a wink as if to say, yeah, don't do that again.
Aye. Basically good man management, I guess,
Roy was a very, very funny guy. Like, he was actually very funny. And obviously inside the training ground, obviously he'd have days where you could tell he was in a bit of a bad mood. Everybody just stay away from him. But most of the time, he was a big smile on his face, cracking jokes.
He had a bit of a reputation as a player, as like being one of the lads, as a drinker, didn't he? So you can get that. I mean, you're not as successful as Roy Keane without being ultra professional a lot of the time. But obviously, he was obviously a good lad to have around the changing room, or he wouldn't have been captain of so many teams.
Yeah, exactly. And then I think obviously when I first signed, that he brought in the kind of players that he knew were sort of like similar to him. Obviously, I don't think it was me. He brought in like all the Irish, like Liam Miller, Graham Kavanagh.
Dwight York's the one that stands out to me because he'd won everything with Roy at Man U. I still can't get my head around why you would leave the beaches of Sydney to come to Sunderland, but he did, and he was here for a good few years, and he done well for us. I think bringing in a player like that really pepped the fans up as well.
Yeah, exactly, because it lifts the fans. You see a big name like that coming in. Obviously, Yorkie, he couldn't move around as well as he could back in the day, but I think he played in the middle of the park.
Yeah,
but he had legs round about him, and he was a top player. Technically, still get it and pass it and stuff. You had like Dean Whitehead, who was a very good player. He had loads of legs round about him. That's like Stephen Elliott. Well, basically just put Yorkie in the middle, and he's got loads of legs round about him, and it just sort of just clicked together.
Yeah.
As soon as he came in.
I don't think David Connolly gets enough credit either, really, because he's another who done really well for us that season, but he doesn't really get talked about too much. Somebody who came in and he was a Republic of Ireland international and just hit the ground running, really. And I know we didn't actually. One thing about that season, we didn't have one standout goal scorer who had like 20, 30 goals. It was like the goals were shared pretty evenly around the team. It points to that good team spirit,
Yeah, we did. I think obviously with the lads that were already there, and then the boys that he brought in, everybody, I just gelled right away. It's quite a weird to explain. Everybody just connected right away. Obviously, like to say, striker-wise, we had Darryl Murphy there that season who got better as the season went on. He was unplayable towards the end of the season.
Yeah.
Obviously, David Conley, very good player. We had different types. I think Stern John came in, did he?
Yeah, he came in the January. He I think came from Coventry, but did really well again. Another one who gave us a bit of physicality up front.
And that squad, we had a bit of everything. But I think and then obviously come January, obviously I'm getting a bit ahead of myself. But the one player that just, as soon as he came in, it just clicked all together was Big Johnny Evans.
Oh yeah, I mean he must have been 18-year-old at the time to come in, and I mean I credit that signing and maybe the signing of Danny Simpson at right back as well. Gave us that little bit extra, didn't it?
I think obviously Danny Simpson done well as well when he came in, but I think Johnny Evans was the one as soon as we signed him, because he was the calm one. He could bring the ball down. He's the one that could play out, and then obviously you had Nugsy beside him. Nugsy was just big, powerful, strong, gets tight, quick. So they sort of complemented each other really well, and we had a real good base. We were really strong defensively with they two. And as soon as Johnny came in, the whole team just clicked, and it was basically, if you were going to beat us, like you were going to have to play really well.
The first half of that season was difficult though, wasn't it? I mean, we all remember how well we ended it, but up until the new year, I don't think we played. Although we improved on where we started, we were in like the middle of the table, and we seemed to take a step forward then a step back. And Roy was able to improve the results, but really we struggled for consistency in the run up to the new year. What was the mood around the club like before January? Were people still confident that we were going to challenge at the top?
Yeah, I think that's in the dressing room. We were confident. We had plenty, to make a little go at it. But obviously at the time we were win one, draw, loss, win. We're doing that, but like you say, as soon as you get past Christmas, then that's when the season properly starts. As long as you're knocking about from mid-table, then you have a good January window like we did. And I think I can't remember how many games you lost, but we didn't lose many.
We lost one. We lost one game. I think it was against Colchester right near the end of the season. Other than that, we went on a mental run of just winning and drawing games, which is why we got promoted, because we started off something like 13th place all the way up to first. I can't remember many times that happening in the Championship where a club's just come from the middle of the table to win the league like we did.
Yeah, that's an unbelievable start, that. What a run that is. I think was it from January to the end of the season we lost one game?
Yeah. And that was Colchester right near the end of the season. So it's
Another signing we made, I forgot. Does Carlos Edwards sign in that January as well?
Yeah. Of course, Carlos Edwards. He was a huge signing. I mean, he scored some really important goals, didn't he?
Yeah, that was another good signing. What a January we had to add to the players that we already had. That was a brilliant squad. I love playing in amongst the lads. They're all good lads as well. They're all willing to run and just sometimes you've got tactics and stuff, but basically just run hard and be aggressive and put tackles in, and that's what we did. We never done a lot of shape. I can't remember us doing loads of shape and stuff. Basically, Roy was just like, get good players and get them on the ball. I mean, you've not got the ball, run hard and be aggressive and go and put tackles in.
What was he like around the training ground? I know he didn't used to spend all week in Sunderland, and he had good coaches, didn't he, who used to do the majority of the work.
Yeah, I think we had the mix. We had obviously you had Tony Loughlin, who was there, who was a bit more hands-on with the training and stuff. And then we had like Neil Bailey came in, and Ricky Sprasia. There was boys come drifting in and out, but I think Tony Loughlin was the one that sort of took most of the training. But Roy would step in. If he seen something that he wasn't happy with, then he would step in and he would put his mark on it. What
was he like in training? Did he used to get involved and muck in?
Not very often, but he did once. I told this story on the Sunday Hour. He stepped in once. I think it was like a 5v5. It was on a Monday or something, and one of the lads got injured, and it was like 4-minute games or something. One of the teams went 2-0 down, and then one of the lads got injured, and he went on the team for the lads that were getting beat 2-0, just in the little five-a-sides. And he came in, we were all playing for like 4-minute games or something, and he scored a hat-trick right with the left foot, and then like dinked to goalkeeper. Remember like Cantona against Sunderland?
Yeah.
Like dinked to go like the goalie right in the top corner. And he just basically just they blew the whistle and he just put the bib down and just walked away. He still got it, yeah. But then he'd come up to you after, like in the canteen, and he just, this is why, like little things like this, he'd come up and go, like behind you and whisper, "Did you see my hat-trick there?"
Well, he learned from the best, didn't he? I mean, I know he won everything under Alex Ferguson. He talks all the time about Brian Clough, doesn't he? And how much of an influence Cloughy was on his career. And you can see elements of that in him.
Yeah, I think that's why when he went to work with Martin, because Martin's obviously got the Cloughy, does things through the Cloughy manual as well, isn't he? Obviously going down that line. Roy's obviously probably enjoyed working on the Martin because he does the
both share similar values. Yeah, I've got to ask. Before we played Barnsley late in the season, there was a bit of a moment where, and I was stood in the away end, and back them days there was no social media or nothing. You just turned up at the match and you saw that's what the team was. Now we get the team news an hour before kick-off or whatever. And we saw Stephen Wright, Kenny Cunningham warming up on the pitch, and everyone's like, what's going on here? And it emerged later on that actually Roy had left 3 players behind in the northeast and hadn't took them to the game with him, and those players were Anthony Stokes, Tobias Hyson and Martin Fuller. What do you remember about that when he left them behind and what unfolded afterwards? I mean, what was the reaction like on the bus?
Oh yeah, that was when we missed the bus.
Yeah.
To be fair with the lads, we were just laughing. We found it funny. We found it funny because we knew that they had to come in Monday and report to Roy. I was just like, all the best, lads.
He totally turned around, didn't he?
Yeah, we had a meeting point on Dunmere Wynyard sort of way where a few of the lads lived on the way down to an away match. And I think obviously the 3 lads were late. But I think Mick, Martin, Phillip and Toby, they had just turned and went home. They just didn't even. But Stokes, he had followed the bus. So he was following the bus in his car, and he's phoned Liam Miller, because obviously Miller and Roy, Roy had a soft spot for Miller with the Irish connection and stuff. So he's phoned Liam to go and try and speak to Roy to stop the bus at the next junction. And obviously Roy was having none of it. He just basically just says, tell him to turn back at the next junction and go home. This bus is not stopping, basically.
How long did he follow for?
I was following for a good 10 minutes, 15 minutes down the road, and basically you just seen him coming off the junction. But you know what the lads are like, they're all at the back of the bus. He's Stokes and tell us because he's up to like as he's coming off the junction. It was quite funny, but that was the kind of thing. Roy hated people being late. No, that was the sort of standard sort of thing, and it was like he probably could have stopped the bus to let him on, but it was just you had to let the lads know that being late is not acceptable. You know what I mean?
Funny that considering he signed players like Diouf and Chimbonda a couple of seasons later who were just so unprofessional and late all the time. I always found that mad that he went that route. He went a complete opposite to what he would, his standards. He signed players who he knew weren't going to maybe fit that mould.
Yeah, I was just on the verge of leaving. I remember Chimbonda coming. I think I left a few days later. But the thing is with Roy, he likes those characters. He likes players that have got a bit of character. Have got that wee bit of fight. If things are not going well, then they'll go and dig in and they'll go and like make a tackle and try and stir things up. You sort of like those kind of characters. Obviously, I'm not sure how they got on after that, but
yeah,
those kind of lads. I think Roy actually quite liked him.
Perhaps the most iconic game of that season was a Friday night under the lights at the Stadium of Light, right near the end of the season against Burnley, and it had everything, didn't it? Drama, brilliant goals. The winner by Carlos was probably my favourite ever Sunderland goal, and securing what turned out to be a vital 3 points because it got us promoted. I mean, what do you remember about that night?
That was a brilliant game. I think Wade Elliott for Burnley, I think he scored from about 30 yards.
Yeah, he did, yeah.
And then Carlos just went and beat that, just smashed one in. But that was the kind of spirit we had. Sort of knew. Sometimes you have those games during the season where they're just mad games. For the fans, what a spectacle it was. I think David Conley scored. Was Daryl Murphy scored as well? I
think Daryl Murphy did score, yeah. It was one of those games where it was just back and forth, and we missed a penalty early on. We went behind 2-1 and we ended up winning the game. I mean, it was crazy.
Yeah, that's what you want. You want games like that, do you?
Well, I don't know. It was difficult. Gave me a heart attack, but yeah, I guess as a neutral, it's what you want, isn't it?
Yeah, as a neutral, you want it, but as long as you win, you know what I mean? That's the main thing.
I think you're right, though. It sums up the character the team had, because Burnley weren't a league challenger. I think they were like mid-table at the time. They gave us a task, and we had to find a way around it, knowing that if we won, we were pretty much promoted, and we got the job done by the most spectacular method in scoring a goal like Carlos did that night. I mean, before that, I think he scored 3 or 4 earlier in the season. I think he got one at Birmingham, one at Coventry, just long-range screamers like that.
He had that in the locker, to be fair, yeah. Obviously, players like that, when the team's playing so well, and then obviously confidence is just oozing out of them. That was Carlos at the time. He was unstoppable at times. He was so sharp, but we could go around the whole team. We could create chances from all over the park. We're quite a powerful team as well. We're big, we're strong. We could mix it up front. We could play. We just had a mix of everything. So it was a brilliant season to be involved in, to be fair.
And we ended the season with a massive win at Luton, which got us the league title, 5-0, I think. I mean, how proud are you? I know I can hear it in your voice now, telling us about that team, but how proud are you of what we managed to achieve that season?
No, that was great. I just remember, at the end of the game, I think behind all the Sunderland fans behind the goal, and I think there was Sunderland fans dotted all over the stadium.
That's it, yeah.
Yeah. It was brilliant, and we went back. We had a celebration. Remember, Roy just walked in. I think Roy just walked in. He was out for a wee bit, and then but you could tell he was in the changing room, and he was just sitting there, the lads. But I think he was buzzing inside himself. I didn't even want to be over joyous, but you could see in his face. Roy I think he was proud of what the lads has achieved and what he achieved as well. He
didn't want to. I remember at the end of that season, he cancelled any sort of plans for a bus parade, didn't he? He just wanted the people to realise that Sunderland have done a brilliant job this season, but we aren't getting too ahead of ourselves, and we shouldn't really be celebrating coming out of this league too much.
Yeah.
How did the players feel about that?
I understood that. I was young, I had another 10, 15 years in the game still to go, but there was a few lads who were at the end of their career who maybe just wanted that wee bit of limelight, be on the bus parade, going through Sunderland or whatever, getting promoted. But you could see Roy's point, and that's the way he was. It was just basically like, we should be getting promoted. Yeah, it would have been nice for those lads, but you could see where Roy was coming from. He had a point.
Yeah.
But obviously, Roy was, you could see in his face, he was very proud of what we achieved that season. But obviously, in his mind, he was wanting to set these standards when we got into the changing room after Luton. He was already thinking of next season. That's the way these guys think. These just pure winners. He's thinking about next season already. But it's just like, have your moment, have a few days, have a week, celebrating, and then listen, come back next season, and then basically we're going to have a go at this Premier League. Yeah,
and you ended the season with 6 goals, I think. There was plenty of competition on that side of the pitch, wasn't there? So
6 goals is, that's probably what I usually average in a season, between 6 and 8 goals. But but probably could have got more goals. But I think I got a few winners in there. We had so much firepower up front. It was about just serving the lads up front. Like obviously myself or Toby or Carlos or whoever was playing the wide areas or in midfield. We had so much firepower up front. It was just about getting the service to those lads.
I miss those days of wingers just getting past their man and whipping it in. Like it's all changed, hasn't it? The role of a winger, it's not so much about that anymore. A lot of managers want the wide players cutting inside and trying to come in behind the strikers rather than just doing the old-fashioned way of getting past the fullback with pace and whipping it in. I mean, how did you have to adapt your game as your career went on?
Well, I think I was still playing sort of winger as I left to at Burnley. But obviously when I went to Sheffield Wednesday, then that's when I properly had to adapt because we ended up playing a 3 in midfield and I was playing a 3 in the centre of the midfield. So I think that's when the game changed, sort of those kind of years. But I don't mind. They are out there. If you want people to be a winger and hug the touchline and get to the fullback, there are wingers out there that can do it. It's just they're coached and they're told to come inside, play off the line, in between pockets and all this sort of stuff, which is really good. You understand it, but sometimes I like the old-fashioned, high and wide and get out to the winger and get the fullback and get crosses in. But obviously nowadays, the games went faster. Fullbacks have become tougher and faster and stronger. They're harder to get past. So that's why players have had to adapt, to try and find other ways of beating teams. But I'm a fan of the old-fashioned winger myself.
Yeah, and you were actually asked to play left back in the start of the next season, weren't you? I think you started the first game of the Premier League season at left back against Spurs. I mean, that was another brilliant day. Full stadium, sunny day, early kick-off on Sky, 90th minute winner. I mean, it was a perfect day, really, wasn't it? I think did you get the assist for the goal as well?
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I just remember it being absolutely roasting that day.
It was, yeah.
Yeah, I started off left back, and then I think I got moved up to left midfield for the last 20 minutes or something, and I don't know why I ended up away over on the right. Obviously managed to get a cross in for I think it was Chops, was it?
Yeah, it was, yeah.
And no, it was a great first touch, and it was a good finish, and the whole place just absolutely just been bouncing. It was unbelievable to see, as a player, also as a fan, they're looking on the pitch.
Yeah.
And they could see it. And I've seen games looking as a fan on the pitch, and it looks brilliant being on the pitch. But obviously, as players, when you score a winner like that at the end, and you're running towards the corner and the lads are celebrating, and you can see players are seeing the fans, bouncing and going mental, as a packed stadium, like you said. It's an unbelievable sight. You don't get many moments like that in your career, so savour them.
The one that always sticks out to me for Sunderland is when Jermaine Defoe scored against Newcastle at the Stadium of Light on the volley. And he ran. This is a player who played God knows how many times for England, played in the Champions League, done everything really. Yet that goal reduced him to tears because he runs over to the fans and he's on the floor in tears, celebrating. As you say, you don't get many times like that in your career, do you?
That is special. Obviously, it's hard to explain for me to explain to obviously yourself and the fans or whatever. But when you're in that moment, it's just what a sight it is, especially at Sunderland. It makes so much when it takes off and it's a packed stadium, it's a big game, and you score a winner. The noise and you see the fans, how passionate they are. It's just unbelievable, honestly.
I miss those times because where we are now. I mean, thinking back to days like that, what a way to introduce yourself to the Premier League. We'd actually had quite a good summer, bought some decent players in, but most of them were unknown quantities, really. Like even Chops up front, he had a good season with Cardiff, hadn't he? But was an ex-Newcastle player, and people weren't sure about him. So it was just a brilliant way to start the season, really.
Yeah, it was. I think they ended up signing Kevin Jones.
Another top player, yeah.
He went on to be brilliant that year. But obviously we were up against it that year, obviously, but I think we put in a decent shift overall. But I think with the players that we had, what did we finish? We stayed up that year, didn't we?
Yeah, we stayed up, but it was a case of we did it and we sort of laboured towards the end of the season. So we had a pretty indifferent season, but that last stretch from February onwards, we only won once in the league. So
obviously, if looking back at it, if you're coming up from the championship, first and foremost, you want to just stay in. Obviously, you don't want to say it, but you want to stay in the league, build, and then go again for the following season. So obviously, with Roy's mentality, he's saying to the players, he's probably thinking, I want mid-table and above. Now that's the high standards that he was wanting in the Premier League as we had just come up. But obviously, you can't be coming out and saying stuff like, if we could just stay in the league and that's quite negative.
No, I agree, and it's especially when you're talking. I know everybody thinks their club's the best club and all that, but you don't want to hear your club being anything other than totally ambitious, do you? You want them to try and be the best that can be, and that's what Roy brought for me. I thought he brought, even at a time when, because you've got to remember before even you arrived and Roy arrived, that Sunderland had just came off the back of a terrible season. So we just wanted to see a team that could fight, but with a bit of quality in it, with a sprinkling of, spend a little bit of money on good players who could make a difference. And I think he did that.
I think with Roy's high standards, it never came back to bite him, sort of thing. Obviously, you want that high standards. He was saying, no, we want to be mid-table. We want to get up there. We shouldn't be down. And obviously, I think you got the fans' expectations right up, as you should. But obviously, you've got to have that little bit of, remember where we were. A few months back, 12 months ago, we were just trying to get out the championship. So I think staying in that first season, staying in the actual Premier League, you would have took that at the start of the season.
Absolutely. And that season, like you say, was stayed up, but you actually played fairly regularly in the first half of the season, and you got a couple of goals. I think you got one at the Emirates, didn't you, against Arsenal? But you seem to be continually linked away from the club towards the January. And Roy even admitted that he would consider offers for you. I mean, what happened there then? Why do you think he didn't fancy you as much in the team after promotion?
I can't remember. He had a mad moment. We were going through a bad run. I think he had one of those mad moments where he was just told like about 10 players that were going to get released, and then he backtracked on his statement like a week later.
Yeah.
So he done stuff like that, but you're obviously they're the little things that he probably looks back and go, I shouldn't have done that. You know what I mean? Obviously, players are going to come in, they'll hit a bit of form. That's why you've got a squad. You know, the guys who are come in, if he's maybe a bit tired or he's out of form for a few games, pull him out, put somebody else in, then obviously that's why you've got a big squad. You know what I mean? If he's been out of form a wee bit, he'd just be like, bang, you're getting released after like having a bad game or something.
Yeah.
Well, not one bad game. He signed Keane Richardson for like $6 million.
Yeah.
He was playing left wing, and obviously he got a back injury that season for the first part of the season, so I was actually playing. And I thought I actually was playing well. I scored a few goals and I was doing all right. And then he was coming back fit, and then obviously just as he was coming back fit, I snapped my medial ligament, got a bad injury. And then obviously that was basically the end of my Sunderland career, basically, because then Kieran came back, he was fit. Then obviously I was never going to come back and play, because obviously he was going to play Keane and paid £6 million for him. I was never going to budge him at the team.
Yeah, he was the star signing that summer, and it was, I guess, expected that he would play every week when he was fit. But I mean, beyond that, you actually, although you had such a bad injury, because like you say, medial ligament, it's pretty serious. You managed to come back for the final game, and which I guess is a pretty remarkable recovery. I mean, how hard did you work to be able to play a part on that day?
All I had in my mind was, I can't remember. I think I spoke to Roy. I think I asked him. I'd love to play before the end of the season, because I kind of half knew that possibly the season after I'd probably be leaving, because he signed Keane Richardson. I was as much as I was staying, you could say you're welcome too much. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And be a bit stubborn and just stay. But that was me. I wanted to play football. I know Roy had paid a lot of money for Keane, so I was like, whatever happens, I'm not going to play here. But obviously I came back for the Arsenal game. I think I got man of the match for that game, last game of the season. But as I was doing my rehab for the 4 or 5 months before that, I was just, all I could thinking in my head, I was like, please just get me one last game. And I spoke to Roy and says, I want to play for the end of the season. And I don't think the physios were too happy with that, but I was like, nah, I want to play. But I ended up, had a brilliant rehab. The physios was brilliant. Got me back for the last game of the season. And obviously looking back now, I was absolutely buzzing to manage to get to play a final game at the end of the season. To be fair, I had a chance to go to America during the summer, because obviously I'd spent for 4 or 5 months doing my rehab at Sunderland, and I got back for the last game of the season, then the season finished. But, I was ready to go.
Yeah.
I had an opportunity to go to America to play over the summer, to keep fit and then come back next season for pre-season fresh and ready to go. And I turned it down, but in hindsight, maybe I probably should have done that, because I hadn't played for 4 or 5 months through injury. I played one game, and then I had another 3 months twiddling my thumbs during the summer. So basically, I played for 8-9 months, and then came back into pre-season. I wasn't sharp enough. I wasn't fit enough, and I obviously never played for the first few games of the season. Then and that's where Preston came in.
Yeah, and I mean, although you spent a year with Preston, was there any inkling that you might get back in the team when you come back? I think Roy might have left by that point. So was there any sort of inkling that you might have been used by Steve Bruce?
Nah, I don't think so.
No.
I had 6 months at Preston. I went on loan initially, and I loved it there. I went back to the Championship. I had a brilliant 4 or 5 months there. Finished a good form under Alan Irvine. And to be fair, I probably wasn't. I don't think Steve Bruce was wanting me to come back. And to be fair, I was playing well and enjoying it. So in football, it's, for me anyway, it's about playing football every week. That's what it is. Yeah. I love playing football. Some people enjoy sitting on the bench and sit and take their money or wait contracts out. That's not for me. I enjoy playing games, so I signed for Preston,
who at the time were one of the top clubs in the league, weren't they? So it's ununderstandable if you're going to move back to the Championship, you want to go somewhere where you're not only comfortable, but obviously somewhere that they're going to be competitive.
Yeah, competitive, yeah. We had a decent team. We ended up making the playoffs that season. No, it was a good season. No, it was good for me. I think overall, I think it was best for me to leave Sunderland at that time. To go and play somewhere else. And that's just football for you. These things happen. But Sunderland, I loved it.
Did you have any regrets about your time at the club, or were you pretty much happy with how things went?
Oh, I was happy, with how things went. That was when I first came. I'd never played 10, 11, 12 games in a row before. I was just a young kid coming down for Celtic. Who played a game, 1 or 2 games, was out. Looked after as a kid. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That was my first year as being like an actual professional footballer. When I first came to Sunderland, obviously I had a good time at Celtic and had some good moments there. But when I first came to Sunderland, that was me becoming a proper professional footballer. And I was sort of learning. Playing week in, week out was a new experience for me. And that's sort of in and out of the team towards the end, the sort of fatigue. But I can't have any regrets about my time at Sunderland. I had a brilliant time. The fans were brilliant. We had some good moments. Played with some great players. And I have fond memories. And I still look out for the results in that. But hopefully, they could get back to where they were.
Yeah, I mean, what do you rank as your greatest moment? I can probably think of 1 or 2, but which one stands out to you?
I think the first game, the Derby game, the first one was good. The Hull City games was a good game. The Luton game as well. Actually getting over the line, winning the actual league, because I think we deserved it. There was a lot of games. Just that whole season. Even the day-to-day stuff going in, training with the lads. The build-ups to games. It was a brilliant experience, and I loved every minute of it.
That's brilliant. I mean, thanks, Ross. I've had a great time chatting with you. And like I say, the fans who are listening to this will remember just as fondly as I do about. I know. You said you feel like you were daft for doing it, but ripping your shirt off and jumping in the crowd—that's what fans want to see, and I think that's why people still think so highly of you now, so many years later. I mean, like I say, it feels like 2 minutes ago, doesn't it? But we're sat here in 2020.
Time flies, hopefully. I still keep an eye out for the results. But obviously, it's just about the club at the minute. It's about player recruitment is key. They recruit the right players, and I think they have. They've got a good nucleus of players there, young players as well. I think they have a good chance of climbing the leagues, and hopefully they do, because it's a brilliant club. They've got unbelievable fans, and it'd be nice to see that stadium packed out again. That would be nice. They'll be happy again.
Well, yeah, he has hope, and he has hope we can get past all this coronavirus stuff and get the football back underway soon enough. And that if you ever find yourself in Sunderland for a game, there'll be plenty of us willing to buy you a pint or two for those celebrations, I'm sure.
No problem, I'll take you up on that.